Have you ever had a killer idea for an app, but then you thought, ugh, but I'm not a coder? What if you could totally change that, like starting today? Right now, we're going to pull back the curtain on Python, which is honestly one of the most powerful and easy-to-learn programming languages on the planet. I promise, by the end of this, you won't just get the basics, you'll have built your very first real program. So you ready? Let's do this.
I mean, really think about that for a second. Every single app on your phone, every game you play, it all started because someone taught a machine how to think. That's all coding is. It's just the language you use to bring your ideas to life. It's how you turn your imagination into a real set of instructions that a computer can actually follow. And your journey as a creator, well, it starts right here.
So here's our game plan. First up, we're going to get our first superpower, storing information. Then, we're going to give our code a brain so it can make decisions. After that, we'll unlock the magic of automation with loops, create some reusable recipes for our code, and find out why the pros are obsessed with writing clean code. And then, for the grand finale, we'll put all those powers together to build something awesome. Let's get into it.
All right, let's kick things off with the absolute bedrock of all programming. Before a computer can do anything cool, it needs a way to remember stuff. So our very first superpower is learning how to give it a memory.
And the main tool we use for that is called a variable. The easiest way to think about it? Just imagine a cardboard box. You can put a label on it, like my high score, and then you can stick a number inside. You can check what's in the box, or you can swap it out for something new. A variable is just that, a labeled box in the computer's memory. See? Super simple. And check this out. This is why people love Python. Look at how easy this is. We're creating a box called user_name and putting the text Alice inside. Programmers call that a string. Then we have another box, score, holding a number or an integer. And this last one, is ready, just holds a simple true or false, which we call a Boolean. But here's the really cool part. We didn't have to tell Python what kind of stuff we were putting in the boxes. It's smart enough to just figure it out. That's the flexibility of Python right there.
Okay, so labeled boxes are great for one thing at a time. But what if you have like a whole grocery list or a list of every player on your team? You're not going to make 100 different variables, right? That would be a total nightmare. No, we need a better way to store whole collections of things. And of course, Python has us covered.
Our two go-to tools for this are lists and dictionaries. Think of a list, the one with the square brackets, as a shopping list. It's an ordered line of items. You find stuff by its position, the first item, the second, and so on. A dictionary, with those curly braces, is totally different. It's more like a contacts app on your phone. You don't care about the order, you just want to look someone up by their name, right? You use a unique key, like name, to instantly find its value, which is Alice. So here's the bottom line. Lists are for when the order is important. Dictionaries are for when you need to look things up super fast. So our computer has a memory now. That's awesome. But now for the really cool part. Let's give it a brain. Our next superpower is all about teaching our code how to make its own decisions. And we do that with something called the if-elif-else ladder. It's just like a fork in the road for your code. The computer gets the if and asks a question. Is this condition true? If the answer is yes, it does that one thing, and then it's done. It skips the rest completely. But if the answer is no, it just moves down to the next question, the elif, which is just short for else if. It keeps going down the line until it gets a yes. And that else at the very bottom, that's your safety net. If nothing else was true, the computer does that. This way, your program always knows what to do.
Okay, so our code's got memory and a brain, but what if we needed to do something, say 1,000 times? I mean, we are not about to copy and paste our code 1,000 times. No way. This is where we unlock the incredible superpower of automation. This is where loops come in. We've got two main kinds of loops. A for loop is your best friend when you have a collection of items, like our shopping list, and you want to do something for every single item on it. It just goes through them one by one until it hits the end. A while loop, on the other hand, is more like a guard at a door. It just keeps repeating the same action as long as a certain condition is true. Like, keep the game running while the player still has lives left. You use it when you don't know ahead of time how many repetitions you're going to need.
And hey, here's a little pro tip. This is a rite of passage for literally every programmer, so listen up. With a while loop, you have got to make sure there's a way for it to end. If that condition never becomes false, you've just created an infinite loop. Your program will get stuck, your computer's fans will go crazy, and you'll be mashing buttons to shut it down. Trust me, we have all been there.
Okay, our toolkit is getting seriously powerful now. But, you know, as our programs get bigger, we don't want to be typing out the same instructions over and over again.
So it's time to learn how to be a smart, efficient programmer by creating reusable recipes for our code.
And these recipes have a name. They're called functions. All it is you take a block of code that does one specific thing, you wrap it up, and you give it a name. Then, anytime you need to do that thing again, you just call the function by its name instead of rewriting all the code. It is absolutely key to keeping your code organized and easy to fix.
This all leads us to one of the most sacred rules in all of programming. Don't repeat yourself, or dry for short. Seriously, if you ever find yourself highlighting a block of code to copy and paste it somewhere else, a little alarm bell should go off in your head. That's your signal that it's time to turn that code into a function. It'll make your life so much easier down the road.
So far, we've focused on what our code does. But now, we've got to talk about something that's just as important, how our code looks. You see, any beginner can write code that a computer gets, but a real pro writes code that other humans can get. This is where we learn the art of clean code. The guy who actually invented Python, Guido van Rossum, said it best. Code is read much more often than it's written. Just let that sink in. You might spend an hour writing a chunk of code, but you, or someone else on your team, might spend days trying to figure it out 6 months from now. Writing clean, readable code isn't just a nice thing to do, it's a gift to your future self.
The good news is, we don't have to make up the rules. Python has an official style guide called PEP 8, and it gives us some really simple standards. For your variables and functions, you use what's called snake case, all lowercase with underscores. For bigger building blocks, called classes, you use camel case, where you capitalize each word. And for values that should never ever change, called constants, you basically just shout with all caps. Following these little rules is the fastest way to make your code look professional.
All right, this is it. This is the moment we've been working towards. We've collected all our superpowers. We can store information, we can make decisions, we can repeat tasks, we can build reusable recipes, and we can make it all look clean. It is time to put it all together and build our very first program.
We're gonna build a super simple bonus calculator, and you can see how every step uses one of the powers we just learned. Step 1, we store the info using variables. Easy. Step 2, we make a decision with an if-else statement to see if the sales target was met. Step 3, we make it a reusable recipe by wrapping the whole thing in a function. And step 4, we get our result. See how it all just clicks together?
And just like that, you did it. You've assembled all the fundamental pieces. This is that magic moment where you go from just writing lines of code to actually solving problems. You're starting to think like a programmer.
What you've just learned, variables, conditionals, loops, and functions, this is basically the DNA of almost every program, app, and website in the world. You've taught a machine to follow your instructions. The door is now wide open. So the only question left is, what will you build next? Seriously, drop your first app idea down in the comments. I really want to see what you come up with. And hey, if this finally made things click for you, do me a favor and hit that like button. Until next time, keep on building.